Shame is not an emotion. It is a social execution. When someone tries to shame you in public, they are not just insulting you. They are trying to murder your identity. You know the feeling, the heat rising up your neck, the sudden silence in the room, the feeling that you have suddenly become very small and everyone else has become giants. Your instinct screams at you to defend yourself, to explain, to fight back, or worse, to apologize. But here is the brutal truth that most people will never understand. The moment you react, you die. The moment you try to prove you aren't what they say you are, you have already accepted their frame. You are dancing to their music, but what if you didn't? What if there was a way to take that burning, heavy energy of shame and with a single psychological shift, turn it back on them? Not by shouting, not by arguing, but by doing something so counterintuitive, so surgically precise, that it leaves them exposed, terrified, and wishing they had never opened their mouth. There is a method to this, a dark art of psychological reversal that Niccolo Machiavelli observed 500 years ago in the courts of Renaissance Italy. In The Prince, Machiavelli wrote about leaders who survived assassination attempts, political betrayal, and public humiliation. The ones who survived were not the kindest or the most moral. They were the ones who understood that perception is reality, and that controlling how others see you is the ultimate form of power. Once you learn this Machiavellian psychology, you will never feel the sting of shame again. You will only feel the rush of power. Most people think the opposite of shame is pride. They are wrong. The opposite of shame is indifference. But getting to true indifference, the kind that freezes a room, requires you to kill a part of yourself that craves validation. In the next 30 minutes, we are going to perform surgery on your social instincts. I am going to show you how to dismantle an attacker, not with insults, but with presence. We will look at the void technique, frame inversion, and active non-existence. By the end of this video, you won't just know how to handle shame. You will crave it because you will see it for what it really is, an opportunity to display dominance. But be warned, this knowledge is not for the kind-hearted. It is for the strategic. Once you see the strings, you can never go back to being a puppet. You need to understand what is happening to you biologically before you can control it socially. When someone shames you, why are you wearing that? Did you really just say that? Everyone here knows you're lying. Your amygdala hijacks your brain. It perceives a threat to your survival. In tribal times, shame meant exile, and exile meant death. So your body prepares to fight or flee. This is where you lose, because in the modern social hierarchy, the person who is reacting is the person who is losing. The shamer knows this. They are banking on your biology. They want you to get angry. They want you to stutter. They want you to look at the floor. They are the director of a play, and they have just cast you as the fool. If you follow your instinct, you play the role perfectly. The Machiavellian mind does not follow instinct. It overrides it. Here is what most people don't understand about handling criticism. Criticism is rarely about truth. It is about hierarchy. When someone publicly criticizes you, they are making a status play. They are attempting to position themselves above you in the social pecking order. In Renaissance, Florence Machiavelli watched as political rivals would publicly humiliate each other, not with swords, but with carefully timed insults at state dinners. The one who lost their composure lost their political capital. The one who remained unmoved, who smiled through the attack, emerged as the stronger player. The Medici family mastered this. They would let attacks bounce off them like rain off marble. The first step to destroying a shamer is to realize that their attack has nothing to do with you. Nothing. Shame is a projection. People only shame others when they feel a threat to their own hierarchy. A happy, powerful person does not need to make others feel small. Only a desperate person does. Think about it. When was the last time a truly secure, successful person went out of their way to humiliate someone publicly? They don't. They have nothing to prove. Shaming is the weapon of the insecure, the jealous, the threatened. When they attack you, they are confessing their own insecurity. They are revealing that they view you as a threat that needs to be neutralized. Take that in. They are afraid of you, or they are jealous of you, or they are bored and empty and need to use your pain as fuel to feel alive. Once you see their attack, not as a judgment of your worth, but as a symptom of their weakness, the heat on your neck vanishes. You stop being the victim. You become the observer. And the observer is the most dangerous person in the room. This is what separates those who understand dark psychology from those who are crushed by it. Most people remain trapped in the performance. You are about to step outside it. Let's talk about the pause. The average person cannot tolerate silence. When an insult lands, there is a vacuum created in the conversation. Human beings are social creatures. We are programmed to fill that vacuum. We laugh nervously. We retort. We justify. We rush to close the gap because the gap feels dangerous. But for those who understand Machiavelli philosophy, the gap is not a danger. The gap is a weapon. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are." This is the principle of appearance versus reality. People judge by what they see, not by what is true. And what they see when you remain silent in the face of an attack is power. He also wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, because it belongs to everybody to see you too few to come in touch with you." In other words, perception is 90% of reality. If you appear unshakable, you are unshakable in their minds. This is why silence is so devastating. It creates a perception of complete control. The attacker expects a reaction, anger, hurt, justification. When they get nothing, their brain short-circuits. Why isn't he defending himself? Does he know something I don't? Is he plotting something? The most devastating thing you can do when someone tries to humiliate you is absolutely nothing. Not the nothing of a coward who is afraid to speak, but the nothing of a predator who is deciding if the prey is even worth eating. This is the same technique used by master interrogators, by elite negotiators, by CEOs in boardroom battles. Silence forces the other person to fill the void, and in filling it, they reveal themselves. They show their desperation, their insecurity, their hand. Here is the technique. They deliver the insult. You do not blink. You do not look away. You do not smile. You do not frown. You go completely still. You look them directly in the eyes, not with aggression. Aggression shows they hurt you. You look at them with dead eyes, a flat, bored, almost clinical stare. You count to 3 in your head. 1, 2, 3. In those 3 seconds, the dynamic of the room shifts tectonically. The audience, the people watching, are waiting for your reaction. When it doesn't come, they look back at the attacker. The attacker expects resistance. When they hit nothing but air, they stumble. They start to wonder, did he hear me? Does he not care? Is he crazy? The silence stretches. It becomes heavy. It becomes awkward. But it is their awkwardness, not yours. You have refused to pick up the burden they threw at you, so it falls at their feet. By doing nothing, you force them to sit in the ugliness of what they just did. You turn the volume up on their disrespect until it becomes deafening to everyone else. This is called the void. You become a black hole. You absorb their energy and give nothing back. And in that silence, their power evaporates. They might try to fill it. They might say, "I'm just joking," or "Cat got your tongue." This is the death rattle of their dominance. They are panicking. They are trying to fix the frame, because you broke it with silence. Do not help them. Let them scramble. Once you have held the silence long enough to make them uncomfortable, you speak. But you do not defend. Defense is an admission of guilt. If I say you are a thief and you scream, "I am not a thief," you have just associated yourself with thievery in the minds of the audience. You are debating your innocence. Kings do not debate their innocence with peasants. Instead, you use what I call psychological judo. You take the energy they threw at you, and you pull it further until they fall over. You treat their insult not as a fact, but as a behavior. You analyze them. You treat them like a patient in a mental asylum who just had an outburst. You don't get angry at the patient. You get curious. They say, "Wow, you really messed that up, didn't you?" The defensive response is, "No, I didn't. I was just trying to..." Weakness. The Machiavellian response is this. You pause. You tilt your head slightly. You look at them with mild, detached curiosity. And you say, "Are you okay?" Or, "You seem really upset about this." Or even colder, "That was a weird thing to say out loud." Notice what happened here. We are no longer talking about my mistake. We are talking about your reaction. We are talking about why you are being so emotional. I have framed myself as the calm, rational adult, and I have framed you as the emotional, unstable child. This is frame inversion. You flip the microscope. Suddenly, they are the one under the light. They have to explain themselves. "No, I'm not upset. I'm just saying..." Now they are defending. And remember, the one who is defending is losing. You have stolen the higher ground without raising your voice. There is a variation of this that is even more savage. It is called the amused agree. Sometimes the shamer is right. Maybe you did make a mistake. Maybe you do have a flaw. They are counting on you to be ashamed of it. So you deprive them of that satisfaction. You own it, but you own it with arrogance. They say, "You're so arrogant." You smile, look them in the eye, and say, "I know. It's my best quality." They say, "You have no idea what you're doing." You laugh softly and say, "I never do. But it always works out, doesn't it?" This is the agree and amplify technique from the 48 laws of power. You take the bullets they shoot at you, and you eat them. When you agree with an insult, you disarm it. You take the weapon out of their hands. Yes, I am weird. Yes, I am loud. Yes, I am late. So what when you are not ashamed of yourself? No one can shame you. You become Teflon. The mud slides right off, and the person throwing the mud ends up with dirty hands. Let me give you a real scenario. You're in a meeting. Someone says in front of everyone, "Your numbers are completely wrong. Did you even check your data?" The room goes quiet. Everyone is watching. The amateur panics. They stutter, "Well, actually, I did check," and they start justifying. They've lost. The strategist goes still. 3 seconds of silence. Then, with clinical curiosity, "That's an interesting observation. Walk me through what you're seeing." Notice no defense, no emotion. You've just made them do the work. Now they have to explain their attack. If they're right, you'll look reasonable for asking. If they're wrong, they'll expose themselves. Either way, you control the frame. Or another scenario. Family gathering. Your relative says, "Still single, what's wrong with you?" Everyone laughs nervously. The wounded person explains, makes excuses, feels small. The Machiavellian smiles slowly and says, "I'm extremely picky. I have very high standards." Pause. Unlike some people. You've just turned their judgment into a compliment for yourself and an insult for them. The laughter shifts direction. This is the essence of dark psychology. Tactics never accept the frame they offer. Always recontextualize. Shame is a performance. The attacker doesn't care about you. They care about the crowd. They want the crowd to laugh. They want the crowd to agree that you are the lowest rung on the ladder. Most people try to win over the attacker. They try to make the attacker stop. This is a waste of time. The attacker is your enemy. You need to win the crowd, but you don't win the crowd by pleading for their sympathy. People despise victims. It's a harsh evolutionary truth. When we see someone weak, our reptile brain wants to distance ourselves from them, so we don't catch their weakness. But people worship strength. People worship control. When you remain calm while someone is berating you, the crowd instinctively shifts to your side. Not because they like you, but because you look like the leader. You look stable. The attacker looks volatile. You can use the crowd to destroy the attacker. This brings us to the triangulation stare. They insult you. You don't look at them immediately. You look at someone else in the group. You make brief eye contact with a third party, and you give a tiny, subtle smirk. A look that says, "Can you believe this guy?" You share a secret joke with the audience at the attacker's expense. You ostracize the attacker. You make them the outsider. By bonding with the crowd through non-verbal communication, you isolate the shamer. Suddenly, they are not the ringleader. They are the court jester dancing for attention, and nobody is clapping. This is subtle. It requires nuance. If you do it too much, you look petty. But if you do it right, just a glance, a raised eyebrow to the person next to you, it destroys the attacker's social capital instantly. You have signaled to the tribe, he is not one of us. He is trying too hard. And in the laws of power, trying too hard is the ultimate sin. The person with the most power is the person who is trying the least. So slow down. Your movements should be languid. Your voice should be deep and slow. Your breathing should be rhythmic. You are the rock in the storm. Let them be the wind. The wind screams and howls and eventually tires itself out. The rock remains. Sometimes the best way to destroy someone is to turn them into a ghost. There are people who thrive on negative attention. If you fight them, they win. If you play psychological judo, they enjoy the game. They are energy vampires. They want a reaction, any reaction. For these people, you use the nuclear option. You delete them from reality. They speak, and you continue what you were doing as if a breeze just blew through the window. You don't look at them. You don't pause. You don't flinch. You turn your back to them and speak to someone else. If they are standing right in front of you, you look through them at something behind their head. This is not the silent treatment. The silent treatment is an emotional reaction. It says, "I am hurt, so I am not talking to you." This is active non-existence. It says, "You are so beneath my notice that my brain does not even register you as a biological entity." This triggers a deep, primal panic in the attacker. Being ignored is biologically more painful than being attacked. Attack acknowledges existence. Indifference denies it. They will escalate. They will get louder. They will say more hurtful things. Let them. The louder they get while you remain oblivious, the crazier they look. They will burn themselves alive in the fire of their own desperation. And you are just sipping your coffee discussing the weather completely unbothered. This is the ultimate dominance. It is the dominance of the mountain over the ant. The ant can bite the mountain all day. The mountain does not care. But to do this, you must truly believe in your own value. You must believe that their opinion is as irrelevant as the buzzing of a fly. This brings us to the philosophical core of dealing with bullies and handling criticism. Techniques are useless if your soul is fragile. You can learn the stares, the pauses, the witty comebacks, But if you are trembling inside, they will smell it. Micro-expressions never lie. To truly destroy anyone who shames you, you must destroy the part of you that feels shame. You must build an internal fortress. Why does shame hurt? Because you have given them the keys to your self-worth. You are letting an outsider, someone who doesn't know your history, your struggles, your potential audit, your value. Why? Why do you trust their judgment more than your own? Machiavelli wrote about virtù, not virtue in the moral sense, but prowess, strength, capability. A man of virtù relies on himself. He knows what he is. If you know you are strong and someone calls you weak, it is not painful. It is funny. It is like someone calling a lion a mouse. The lion does not get offended. The lion knows it is a lion. You need to reach a point of self-knowledge that is so concrete, so solidified, that external inputs bounce off. This requires shadow work. You must face the things you are ashamed of. Are you ashamed of your past, your body, your bank account, your loneliness? Bring it into the light. Look at it. Accept it. Yes, I failed. Yes, I am struggling. The moment you accept your own flaws, you become invincible because the shamer has no ammunition left. They can only hurt you with the truth you are hiding from. If you hide nothing, they can hurt nothing. Let me be specific about this shadow work process. Sit down with a piece of paper. Write down every single thing you are ashamed of. Every failure, every embarrassing moment, every quality you hide. Your weight, your income, your past mistakes, your secret fears. Everything. Now read the list. Really look at it. Ask yourself, if someone threw this in my face publicly, would it destroy me? If the answer is yes, you still have work to do. You need to integrate that shadow. You need to own it so completely that it becomes just another fact about you, like your height or your eye color. This is what Carl Jung called shadow integration. The parts of yourself you reject become weapons in the hands of others. The parts you accept become armor. When you can say, yes, I was fired from 3 jobs, or yes, I'm in debt, or yes, I've been divorced, without your voice shaking, without shame in your eyes, you have transmuted weakness into strength. Machiavelli understood this implicitly. He was imprisoned, tortured, exiled from Florence. He lost everything. Yet he wrote The Prince from a place of absolute clarity, not shame. He owned his losses. He studied them. He turned his humiliation into philosophy that has lasted 5 centuries. Become transparent to yourself and opaque to them. This is the paradox of power. The most vulnerable man is the one hiding behind armor. The most powerful man is the one standing naked in the storm, saying, I have nothing to fear. Here's a tactical exercise practice, the phrase, so what? Someone says, you're too aggressive. You say internally, so what? You're not educated enough. So what? You're too old. So what? Train yourself to neutralize judgment by refusing to accept it as meaningful data about your worth. When you reach this state, you stop walking into rooms wondering if people will like you. You start walking into rooms wondering if you will like them. The dynamic flips. You become the judge. Sometimes silence isn't enough. Sometimes you need to cut. But you must cut like a surgeon, not a butcher. A butcher hacks and makes a mess. A surgeon makes one precise incision and removes the organ. When you decide to strike back verbally, you must follow the rule of brevity. Less is more. A long speech makes you look defensive. One sentence makes you look lethal. Here are 3 surgical strikes to keep in your arsenal for how to win arguments without losing your composure. Strike 1. The who frame. They insult you. You look at them and ask, Who are you trying to impress right now? This is devastating. It immediately exposes their performance. It tells the room he is performing "I am watching." It breaks the fourth wall. Strike 2, the repeat command. They say something nasty. You put your hand to your ear and say, "I'm sorry. Say that again. I didn't catch that." Make them repeat the insult. Insults are like jokes. They only work the first time. When you force someone to repeat an insult, it loses its rhythm. It sounds rehearsed. It sounds petty. And usually they won't say it again. They will crumble. They will say, "Never mind." You have forced them to retreat. Strike 3, the validation trap. They attack you. You smile compassionately and say, I know things are hard for you right now. You don't have to take it out on me." You act like a therapist. You frame their attack as a cry for help. You pity them. And there is nothing more humiliating to a narcissist than being pitied. They want to be feared. When you pity them, you place yourself above them. You are the adult comforting the tantrum-throwing child. It drives them insane, but they can't fight it because you are being nice. If they get angry, they prove your point that they are unstable. You have trapped them in a double bind. Heads you win, tails they lose. Here's a fourth strike for advanced practitioners, the time delay. They insult you. You pause. You look at them. Then you look at your watch or phone, look back at them and say, "Sorry, were you saying something important? I zoned out." This is extraordinarily insulting because it implies their attack was so boring, so beneath your attention, that your mind literally wandered. You were thinking about lunch while they were trying to destroy you. The casualness of it is crushing. A fifth option, the compliment reversal. They say, "You're so stupid." You respond, "Thank you for caring enough about my development to give me feedback. That's very generous of you." Delivered with absolute sincerity, this is devastating. You've reframed their attack as kindness, which makes them look like they're trying too hard if they clarify they were being mean. These are the dark psychology tactics that create psychological dominance without ever raising your voice. The key is delivery calm, slow, with the confidence of someone who has nothing to prove. How you end the interaction is just as important as how you handle it. Do not linger. Once you have deployed the silence, the stare, or the surgical strike, leave, or turn your attention completely to someone else. Machiavelli knew that power is about access. When you withdraw your attention, you are withdrawing the greatest resource in the room. You punish them with your absence. Let them sit with the wreckage. Do not check to see if they are looking at you. Do not look for validation from the crowd. Just move on. Show them that the interaction meant so little to you that it has already been deleted from your cache. You are on to the next thing. This is the ultimate insult to be forgettable. Make them forgettable. Why are we talking about this? Is it just to win arguments? No, it is because the world is becoming sharper, colder, and more vicious. We live in a digital coliseum where everyone is judging everyone. Cancel culture online, shaming, social status games. It is a war zone. If you do not have these defenses, you will be eaten. You will shrink. You will become afraid to speak your truth. You will become a gray conformist ghost, terrified of stepping out of line. Learning these dark psychology tactics is not about becoming evil. It is about protecting your light. It is about building a perimeter around your mind so that the toxic waste of other people's insecurities cannot touch you. When you know you can handle shame, you become fearless. You take risks. You speak up. You lead. You walk differently. You stop asking for permission to exist. Shame is a cage. These techniques are the key. But remember, with great power comes the temptation to abuse it. Do not become the shamer. Do not use these tools to destroy the weak. That is cowardly. Use them to destroy the destroyers. Use them to protect the innocent. Use them to hold your ground when the world tries to move you. There is a difference between a warrior and a bully. A warrior uses force to protect boundaries. A bully uses force to feel powerful. You are learning to be a warrior. Use these techniques when someone crosses the line, when someone tries to publicly humiliate you, when someone attempts to steal your power through shame. But do not go looking for fights. Do not use these methods on people who are simply awkward or nervous, or making innocent mistakes. Reserve your arsenal for those who deliberately attempt to harm you. That is the ethical line. That is the difference between Machiavellian psychology, used for protection, and dark psychology, used for exploitation. Be the monster that keeps the other monsters at bay. That is the Machiavelli daily practice, the outlier way. You now possess the tools, the silence, the stare, the judo, the void. You have the blueprint to dismantle anyone who tries to lower your status. But knowing the path is not walking the path. The next time you feel that heat rising in your neck, the next time someone tries to make you small, don't panic. Smile. Because you have been waiting for this. You are no longer the prey. You are the trap. Let them step in and watch what happens when they realize they are locked in with you, not the other way around. Most people will watch this video and nod, and then go back to being a victim tomorrow. They are addicted to their own weakness. But you are still here. You are listening to the silence between these words. That tells me you are ready for something deeper. This was just the defense. But what about the offense? What about the art of influence? How do you not just stop people from hurting you, but make them desperately want to follow you? That is a darker, deeper rabbit hole. And we are going to go down it soon. If you are tired of the blue pill advice that tells you to just be nice and forgive everyone, if you are ready to understand the raw, unfiltered dynamics of human power, then you are in the right place. Join the order, subscribe, turn on the bell. We are building a sanctuary for the strong. Don't be left outside. I'll see you in the shadows.